is going to be the most important characteristic of the future, creativity. Everyone's heard of Google, right? Google was voted the #1 company that everyone wants to go to work for. Biggest company in the world. Everyone wants to go and work for them. Do you know why they want to go and work for them? Not because of the salary. Not because of the position. Not because of the fact that Google's in Silicon Valley in the US. But they want to go and work for them for one simple reason. When you apply for a job at Google, Google does not ask you for your metric certificate. They don't ask you for your university degree. They don't look at what your symbol was, whether you had an A, a B, or a C. They look at how creative you are. They will ask you questions on how creative you are. So they are checking to see whether you can find solutions to tomorrow's problems, thinking differently. And I'll give you an example of how that is done just now. The third thing that's driving it is you, the millennial generation. The millennial generation, people like yourselves, the younger generation, the ones that are familiar with technology. You never knew a time when a cell phone didn't exist, right? From the time you were born, you've seen a cell phone. From the time you were born, you've seen an iPad. You understand this technology. You understand the concept of using technology. I had to learn how to use a cell phone. It came naturally to me. I had to learn how to use a computer. It came naturally to me. So let me show you an example of this technology that's coming naturally to you. When was the first man on the moon? Which year? 1969. Correct. Man was put on the moon for the first time April 1969. The computer that they used to put Neil Armstrong onto the moon in 1969 was called the Cray 1 supercomputer, most advanced computer in the world. It occupied a room that was a distance of 120 meters between two sides of the room. Can you imagine that? 120 meters. This room is about 30 meters, so 4 times the size of this room. That computer had less computing power than my cell phone. Everything that was used to put the man on the moon was in my cell phone. It's in your cell phone. That's what technology has done, and that's what you are growing up with. So that's what's driving the 4th Industrial Revolution, is people like yourself. And what are you doing with it? What is the millennial generation doing with all this innovation and technology and creativity? They're doing one simple thing, and that is disrupting the status quo, disrupting the way it's always been accepted to do it. So, let me give you an example, quickly. About 2 years ago, I landed from overseas at the airport and went to collect my bags. I collected my bag was damaged, squashed, the zip was broken, bottom of it was broken. So I went to the customer care section at the airport and I said, the bag's broken. So what do they say to me? Because when your bag is broken, you take it to them, they check it up and they say it's their fault, they get it repaired. So I took it to them and said, it's broken. So the lady says to me, well, you'll have to leave your bag here, we have to assess it. Now imagine I came from overseas, my bag full of my clothes, bag is broken, and they say they want to assess my bag. I said, okay, how long does it take for you to assess the bag? Because I'm thinking that she's just going to look at it, tell me it's broken, and say, okay, it is broken, we accept liability. She says it takes 2 days to assess the bag. Am I going to stand there for 2 days with my bag? So she says, no, what you do is, you leave your bag here. So what about my clothes? You can take your clothes with you. So I'm going to leave my bag behind. I got no other bag. I must carry my clothes where? In my hand? Checkers packet? I'm asking her all these questions. She doesn't have an answer for me. What she's saying is, sir, the policy and the procedure is you have to leave your bag. So I said, okay, what's the other option? Because I don't have another bag. So she says, well, what you can do is you can take your bag home with you and bring it back to us empty. Does that make sense? I must drive from the airport all the way, 40 kilometers home, empty the bag, drive all the way back to the airport another 40 kilometers with an empty bag, and drive all the way back home again another 40 kilometers without a bag, because she's going to wait 2 days to assess it. Make sense? But that's the process. That's the policy that they have. So I asked her, where does this bag get assessed? Who does the assessment? She says, it's a bag shop that sends a technician to us to get it assessed. So where's the bag shop? The bag shop is outside the arrivals hall. You've been to the airport, right? You see when you arrive, there's a bag shop just outside. That's the bag shop. So I said, can I not take the bag there? No, you cannot. Can you call a person from there to come and assess the bag here? No, you cannot. So what did I do? Unacceptable. It's an old process. They've been doing it for 30 years that way. So can you please call your manager? Call the manager, ask him the same question. Say, this is the process. Because your process is too old. It's too archaic. It doesn't make sense. So he says, no, what can we do about it? Well, what you can do about it is the next management meeting you have, you say customers are complaining about this process. But for now, what you do is, I'm taking my bag, I'm going home, you send a driver to come and collect the bag for me, you get it sorted out, and you contact me afterwards. Customer care? So he says, well, we don't really do that, we don't know how to do it. I said, that's what you have to do now. Because I'm not leaving my bag here. And they ended up doing that. And the best part is, he took this complaint of mine, because I wrote it, sent it off to them. He took this complaint of mine to the management committee and they changed the policy. So what did I do? I've disrupted that process. I've changed that process. So it's only when you experience certain things when you disrupt the process. Uber disrupted the taxi industry. Taxis were there, taxi drivers were there. In the previous days, if you wanted a taxi, what you had to do? Phone the taxi company, hi, can I get a taxi? Yes, the taxi will be there in 45 minutes. I'm going to rush now. No, it takes 45 minutes for the taxi to get there. And then they charge you an arm and a leg, right? Taxi drives around the whole town, you don't know where is he going to. Nowadays, Uber tells you exactly where the taxi driver is coming, how long it's going to be, tells you how much the trip is going to cost you. You can track the trip everywhere, every portion of the trip. And you can share that tracking with a loved one so that they know exactly where you are as well. And that's exactly what disruption has done. They haven't invented the taxi industry. They haven't invented drivers. They've just disrupted the whole process. So what's the thing that's all this comes into? It's culture. It's the customer interaction. It's how processes are now coming together to make you happy. Everything's been designed. How can we make humans happy? That's all it's been. Notice something there that I've got there. It says human evolution. Why do you laugh about it? Evolution's haram, right? Eh? No, not real? Didn't happen? Human evolution is happening. I'm not talking about Darwin's theory of evolution. You're laughing? Human evolution is how we are changing society, the way we do things, how we do things. That's the evolution that we're coming about. So do you know one of the things that is happening to humans? Our thumbs are getting bigger. They're getting longer. Do you know why our thumbs are getting longer? Why? Texting. Exactly. Because you spend time doing this here, your thumbs are becoming longer. The next generation of humans will have longer thumbs. So yeah, I like bags. So this is an example of fourth industrial revolution and ways of. Any of you recognize this picture or are familiar with what's on this picture? It's an old picture. Mr. Vaid will know about it. Maulana might know about it. Right? Those that traveled in the old days, in the 70s and 80s, know this very well. Wherever we traveled, we had these big bags that you had to carry. This normal sized bag was that big. You put two humans into it, right? And you carried these bags and you went, and those bags had no wheels on them. So you carried the bags. And wherever you went, there was a porter that helped you to bring your bags across into the hotel, into the train, onto the ship, to the plane, wherever it was you were taking your bag to. There was a porter. Who read Around the World in 80 Days? Anybody read the book Around the World in 80 Days? Anyone know about the book Around the World in 80 Days? No? Read it up. It's a brilliant book. It's a lovely story. It's a story about a man who took up a challenge in the early 1900s to travel the world in 80 days. So in those times, if you wanted to travel from here to say for Hajj, you had two ways of going. You could go by ship. It took you almost 2.5 months, 3 months. I don't know how many months it took to go from here to Jeddah by ship.
The old days. I think maybe 4 or 5 months.
So from here, it went to Maputo. Those times it was called Balboa Bay. From there to Mombasa. From Mombasa to Somalia. From there across to the port of Jeddah. So it took a number of months to get there. So just from here to Hajj was a year over, because it took you 3 months to get there. You went for Hajj, 3 months to come back. That's 6 months. So people would spend 3 months in Hajj. Today, if you want to go for Hajj, people are looking for, what's the shortest ticket I can get? My Hajj is 3 days, and I get a 10-day ticket. It takes me 8 hours to fly there, perform my Hajj, 8 hours to fly back. I don't need months for it. So what has happened? When Phineas Fogg, the character in our novel called Around the World in 80 Days, the main character, was put onto this challenge, he had a butler called Passepartout. And he says to Passepartout, don't pack bags. Only pack a carpetbagger with 3 shirts. Because in those days, when you traveled anyway, you packed a whole suitcase that fitted your entire wardrobe into it. But his challenge to his butler was 3 shirts in a carpetbagger. Carpetbagger is a small little bag. Because he knew that by the time you put your bags onto a ship and take them off and everything, you'll never make it around the world in 80 days. Read the book. Lovely book. So, off we went on our travels with all these bags. And guess what? In the year 3500 BC, the wheel was invented. Man invented the wheel. Right? Long, long time ago. In 1800, we invented the suitcase. Up to then, we put things in saddlebags, in little sachets, and we carried them around. But in the 1800s, we invented a suitcase, a proper suitcase. So, 3500 BC, 1800, we then invented the suitcase. After inventing the suitcase in 1972 only, did we take a wheel and we stuck it onto the suitcase. Now imagine, for 172 years, we carried around this suitcase without even thinking to put a wheel on it. We carried these things. We lugged them around. And no one thought, let me stick a wheel onto this and pull it. Wheels were there. So our friend Neil Armstrong went to the moon in 1969. We landed a man on the moon. But you know when he got home, he had to carry his suitcases home? He couldn't pull them on wheels. Because we hadn't stuck a wheel onto a suitcase. Now when you think about it, you've never seen a suitcase without a wheel, have you? Have you ever seen a suitcase without a wheel? If someone brought a suitcase in front of you without a wheel, you'd laugh at them, right? What are you carrying this big brick around? Well, I carried it. I carried it. Ahmed carried it. Only in the 1990s.
Sometimes the bag was so heavy that the handle used to come off.
Yeah, the handle used to come. But 1972 is when the first time a wheel was stuck onto a bag. It was a suitcase manufacturer who owned the company. He was traveling onto a plane and he says, now why am I carrying these bags? Why can't I find an easier way of doing it? So he experimented, put a wheel on it, and dragged his suitcase onto the plane. So from 1972, few people were pulling their suitcases on the plane. But in 1990, there was a pilot who was getting onto the plane and he's thinking to himself, why do I need to pull this big suitcase with these two wheels at the bottom? He's a pilot, been traveling so many times on the plane. And he decides to take that suitcase and instead of putting it horizontally, he puts the suitcase vertically. So previous suitcases had a handle on the top and a wheel at the bottom, and you drag this thing along. And so he decides, why can't I turn the suitcase around this way and put two wheels at the bottom and a handle at the top? And it makes it so much easier to drag across. He was a pilot. Because he couldn't get onto the plane. One of the things that there was a problem with those suitcases that had those wheels in the back was that as you were putting it, because it only had a single wheel at the back, what happens? Balance. It kept falling over. So he stuck two wheels. Now we've got four wheels on the suitcase. And you know what's the best part? Wyatt knows I gave this example. When I used to travel previously, and I traveled a lot, I used to check in baggage on a plane. Today, I fly overseas with no checked-in baggage. Small cabin luggage, my laptop. And in the last 2 years, I haven't even carried a laptop. All that's happening is that our traveling requirements are getting less and less and less. So you think to yourself, I now travel with 2 shirts or 3 shirts, pants, a small cabin bag that I put onto the plane, and don't even have to wait for check-in luggage. So what was I doing all these years when I was putting these big bags along and putting them into the plane? Why couldn't I do it all at that time? That's what's happening with the millennial generation, is that we're changing all of these things, and we're changing the way we are operating in society. So all of this, Abia, all this technology that you have all over the place, everything that you have, is now starting to become connected. How many of you have fridges at home? What's in your fridge? What's in your fridge at the moment? Milk? Ice cream? Right? The freezer. Okay. All right. Fridge or freezer. Double-decker fridge, freezer. So we've got ice cream at the bottom, we've got milk on the top. What else? Right? Cheese. Yeah. Meat. Yeah. Okay. How much of milk do you have in your fridge at the moment? 2 liters. What happens when the 2 liters is finished? Now what technology is doing is, you have milk in your fridge. Your cell phone will tell you, you only have 1 liter of milk left in the fridge. Your meat that you've got in the fridge, you've only got half a kilo of it left. And the ice cream that you got in your freezer is supposed to be kept at minus 20 degrees in the freezer, but the freezer is now starting to go on the blink and the ice cream is starting to melt. That's what your cell phone is going to tell you. And the best part of it is, your cell phone is then going to connect up with Woolies or Pick n Pay or Checkers and order that 2 liter of milk for you. Do you know that? life so much easier? Better? It's happening already. Every device in the world is now becoming connected with every other device in the world. Cars are getting connected to computers. You can now talk to your car. Cars are becoming driverless. The Uber driver won't be coming in the car. The car will be coming to me by itself. And it will take me to where I want and drop me off there. And that's all because these devices are becoming connected with each other. They are now close on to 4 billion devices around the world that are connected to each other. And that's growing exponentially every day. And all of that is generating data. So if you look at that slide over there, it tells us that 2.5 quintillion bytes of data have been generated. And we're generating more data every day than ever before. And do you know why we're generating so much of data? It's not just because of all these devices that are connected to each other. It's because everybody's taking photos and uploading it to Facebook and Instagram. And do you know what Facebook and Instagram are doing with all the photos that you're uploading? I won't tell you what you're uploading, right? Do you know what they're doing with the data that you're uploading, those photos that you're uploading? So let's say you went to the beachfront. Simple example, you went to the beachfront. You took a photo of Marine Parade, not of yourself in it, Marine Parade. And you posted it up on Facebook. I'm on Marine Parade this morning, beautiful weather. Do you know what's happening now? Behind the scenes? Facebook is collecting that information and will now start showing you adverts based on Marine Parade, the beachfront, the fact that you like the beach lifestyle. If you went to Spur and you checked in at Spur, afterwards Instagram is going to start showing you adverts of sizzling steak, lovely burgers, and will suggest to you that every time you walk past somewhere, will say, do you know RJ's is around the corner, 2 meters away from you? Aren't you feeling hungry today? That's what all this data is now doing. Fascinating stuff that's happening around the world. So your 4th industrial revolution in action, this is where it's all happening. Again, driverless cars. We're getting online shopping. Which is the biggest shopping company in the world? Amazon. Let me give you a startling fact. The biggest shopping company in the world, the biggest store in the world used to be Walmart. Walmart had 9,600 stores around the world. 9,600 stores around the world. They employed 139,000 people in those stores. It took them 60 years to build the company up to where it was. And Amazon is how old? How? Right. In the last 8 years, Amazon's turnover in 8 years has surpassed Walmart's turnover twice over. That means Amazon, which owns no shops anywhere in the world, doesn't have a shop that you can walk into. They open a few shops. Totally online, sells more goods online than Walmart does in its 9,600 shops. And it's become such a competitor that Walmart has closed up 1,300 shops last year. And they're downscaling it. And if that trend continues, unless Walmart disrupts its business, that 60-year-old company will be out of business. So online shopping is becoming a big thing. And what's driving online shopping? Your cell phone. Because now you want something, you saw a lovely phone, you wanted it, go online, you got it. Saw a nice shirt, nice kurta, nice top. Online you can do it. And what does online shopping do for you? You can be sitting at home, you saw that lovely headscarf that you wanted, click on it, half an hour later the doorbell rings, there's a guy that's there and says, here's your stuff. You didn't even have to get out of the house. The second pillar that's in there says health. What's the average age of a human? 60? Around 60? Average age? Average age now is 85 years old. People are living longer. More people are living longer than ever before in history. The Queen of England used to send every one of her subjects who reached the age of 100 a personalized card. Happy birthday to you. Now 100 years old. Nowadays she doesn't send those cards. Do you know why? Because there are too many people that have turned 100. So she doesn't automatically send it to you. If you want to have a birthday card when you turn 100, you've got to send her a self-addressed stamped envelope saying, I now turn 100, send me a birthday card. And then she sends it off to you. Research shows that the first person that will reach the age of 200 is about to be born. Age of 200. We already got people living to 100, 105, 110. But the person who's going to live to the age of 200 is about to be born. Because we are able to increase people's lifespans through the healthcare systems that we have, through all the medication that we are using, through the kind of society that we have entered into, the kind of food that we are consuming. All of these things are now increasing our life expectancy. So what does that mean? Think about it. What will it mean for you? It means, sorry? Population won't decrease, yes. Putting pressure on our resources that we have. What else does it mean? Cost of living. You now have to work longer. So where you look to retire at the age of 65, you can't retire at the age of 65 anymore. You'll now be working till you're 110 years old. Right? All of these things are going to impact on us. We now have artificial limbs. And those artificial limbs that have been installed onto people are no longer those contraptions that you saw in Cyborg. They actually look like real limbs. They feel like real limbs. And they've been attached in such a way that you never know that the person has got an artificial limb. And they're now starting to grow organs. Ears are being grown. Real human ear, grown and attached. Not a mechanical one. Livers are being grown. So if a person has got a liver problem, it's not a crisis any longer. They can replace the liver. We can become like cars with spare parts. Got a problem, go to the mechanic, take out the battery, put a new battery in. Got a problem with the stomach, go to the doctor, takes out the whole stomach, puts another one in. That's what we're going to become. And soon, we'll be able to replace brains also. Not now. Long time from now. So where this thing is affecting our lifestyles? It's affecting our lifestyles on the basis that the last one is more important to you than anything else. We have gotten to a point where we are now wearing technology. Do you know you're wearing technology? How many of you have got a smartwatch? No? No one's got a smartwatch? The smartwatch is the most mass-produced wearable. It can tell you your pulse, your temperature, your heart rate, your pressure. All of these things are now being told by a smartwatch. There's now material that is already in the market that when you wear your shirt or you wear your cloak or you wear your thobe, and if the weather turns all of a sudden, it gets cold, automatically it'll start heating up. If it gets too hot, automatically it will start cooling down. It's the fabric that is able to sense your body temperature, the outside temperature. That same fabric can also send to me information about your heart rate, your perspiration, whether you're getting dehydrated. All that information will be available. I can log in and I can check it out. And I can then phone you and say, you know what, you're getting dehydrated, start drinking some water. Imagine if you went to IG Hussen's, you bought a cloak from them, you wore it, and then 2 days later, while you're wearing it, you get a call from some lady at IG Hussen's that says, Fatima, you look like you're getting dehydrated. We've got some lovely water that's available.
Zamzam water.
Eh?
Zamzam
water. A Zamzam water that's available. Or, very easily she could phone and say, you know, your temperature is a bit high. Go to the doctor and get yourself checked out. You might be getting a flu, or that cold, that sneezing that's taking place. The fabric will be able to tell you all of that. Can you imagine that? It's there already. Don't imagine it. I pose this question to our ulama. Right now, we are 8 billion people. We only have so many number of cows that are available, so much of fish. We know that fish are getting depleted. There's a problem with food. There's food shortage. We can't have too many cows because it's affecting the ozone layer. So what's happening? They're now growing meat in a lab. So you don't have to grow an entire cow to get some meat out of it. You just can grow the meat. You don't need the head, you don't need the legs, you don't need the tail. You don't need to feed the cow. You don't need a big farm. A room like this over here that you can grow a couple of steaks in it. So the question that I posed to the ulama, what's the halal status of that? It's already done. Don't think that it's going to happen. I'm talking about some science fiction movie or novel. It's happening already. They're already growing this meat. And it's already available. Not here in South Africa as yet. Imam Bucks doesn't stock it as yet. He's waiting for the fatwa on it. The most important thing is going to be this little thing down here for you, profession. What is going to be your profession? Who are you going to be? What work will you do? Who wants to be a doctor? Who wants to be an accountant? Who wants to be a lawyer? Who wants to be a driver? Who wants to be a nurse? What else do you want? What? Taxonomist. What is that? Scientist. Okay. So it's going to affect your career choices. So let me show you some startling facts. There's going to be 5 million jobs lost to artificial intelligence next year. 5 million jobs, existing jobs, are going to be lost to artificial intelligence next year. Anyone know what's artificial intelligence? Hey? Technology, yes, technology. It's human intelligence that's in a computer. Computer can start thinking for itself. Starts making decisions. Starts thought processes. Anyone been online recently? Gone to SAA's website or any website? No one's been online? Been online? You see a little thing that comes up and says, let's chat now. Seen that? Have you ever chatted with that? Anyone chatted with it? Have you chatted with it? What have you asked?
It was college, Bambalina College. I
Yeah.
wanted to know about the courses they offer.
Yeah.
Then it responds automatically, same time with the visual from.
Do you think that there was a human being that was there?
I don't know. But it answers like a human being.
90% of all online chat interfaces are non-human. They're called chatbots. Robots that will chat to you. On the website it's there. I went to Hilton's website, I needed to book a hotel room, clicked on there, chat came up and I said, I want a hotel room at this hotel. Please wait. Came back and said, we have a room available for you. What type of room do you want? I said, I want a non-smoking room. We have a non-smoking room available. That entire interaction was with the computer, non-human. Every question that I posed to it, it answered logically and rationally. I said, I want a room that was facing onto the park. We have available a room facing onto the park from this date to this date. Would you like to book it? It was not a human. Hilton does not have anybody sitting in the call center answering those things. Imagine having a whole conversation. How many of you got iPhones? Don't feel shy. How many got Samsung? Anyone spoken to Siri anytime? You know Siri? Spoken to Siri? What does Siri say to you? Is she human? You can ask her any question, she'll answer. Bixby does the same thing. Bixby, who's my girlfriend? I'll tell you, right? That's not human. So, whoever wants to become an accountant, the profession is in danger. I'm not telling you don't become an accountant. What I'm telling you is, these are the professions that are going to be affected by artificial intelligence. Has anybody heard of smart accounting, smart act? It's a computer program used by a number of businesses. Smart act is a survey amongst all their worldwide customers and ask them, what do you need in your accountant? Do you employ an accountant, and what do you need in an accountant? 90% of smart act users said we don't use an accountant because it's now automated. We've got a computer system that does exactly what the accountant does. 70% of those that responded when they were asked, what do you need your accountant for? Says, I need an accountant to give me tax advice. Nothing else. I don't need my accountant to tell me about my books, about my financial statements or anything. I just need them to give me tax advice. 70% of smart accounting